My city has grown massively recently, and with growth comes expansion, both in the city and beyond it. You see, I never planned for this world to just be one architectural style. I imagined something bigger, distant regions, different cultures, all connected through trade and commerce. So I gathered my wealth, mounted my horse, and rode into the wilderness in search of that vision. This is where that story begins. And like any story, it begins with a journey to a place that feels unique. A fresh start away from the bustling streets of the city and into the heart of nature. If you're new, this is the new region of my world that I recently started, but I've come to the decision, using both some of your advice mixed with some of my own, that it'll be themed as a government research lab of the city of Lapis, centered within a state park nature reserve to complement it. I think it's pretty unique, and it'll test my skills for sure, because if you're a regular to my channel, you'll know that this is very different from my usual French architectural projects, and we will be getting into one of those later. But for now, in my hand here is the government contract issued to me by the Lapisian capital, and if I know one thing about overseas government contracts, it means that I can do whatever I want without any fear of oversight. No, it means it's time for me to gather my tools and set down the first blocks of progress towards what will become the second largest area in my world. My goal with this is to capture that all-encompassing dense forest vibe many builders go for, while also giving it my own spin and style with the government labs facility. And I felt I needed a break from the whole town archetype. I honestly don't even know what to call this style. I'd say it's a mix between modern urban industrial with some neo-cyberpunk flair, maybe imperial cyberpunk if that's a thing, or at least that's what I'm imagining it as. Right now I'm building the main lab buildings to kind of act as like an anchor to this place for the other plots I have planned. That being a few little industrial electrical posts where I'll just mess around with details, a watchtower where I'll kind of just use it as a placeholder build for now, and more importantly, a large satellite dish to show that actual research is being done here. You know, we here at Doog Labs, we really put an emphasis on making a change in the world. No. But I always forget how hard it is to build in a new style at first. You're always questioning whether a certain design works or detail fits with nothing to cross-reference it at the beginning. But you see, that right there is the beauty of it. That's when the brain starts firing up, where the creative ideas start forming. And with the time of my contract ticking, it was time for me to enter into that creative flow and complete the beginning renovations of the Doog Labs. Now you can sort of see the inspiration. I'd say it's leaning towards industrial cyberpunk as of right now. Here's a rough concept of that. I hope it's not AI, it's the only public domain image I could find. But it's definitely starting to come together. I had a fun time experimenting with palettes and gradients. You could see decaying, fading stone from the top down, which really adds a realism effect to it. Same with all the details. I've been wanting to build like this for a while. There's such a dichotomy in terms of detailed designs between the French style and this one. It's much more of an imaginative process the more modernly you build, so it's nice to change styles every now and then. But before heading inside to finish the interior, I decided to build up a few more custom trees around the plots, filling in gaps and further working on the visual scale of the forest. As I mentioned, it will eventually become a state park of Lapisian authority with the massive falls beneath the cliffs below, so it's important that this area actually resembles that hole in the wall, or should I say hole in the forest setting I'm picturing. But I think I made the right decision in terms of style. It's a total breath of fresh air from the French theme, so I hope you all aren't too upset about that. some calm organics. I told you that this area was supposed to emphasize on the environment aspect more, and I hope you can see what I mean now. This place is in the beginning stages of feeling lively, that's for sure. But let's head inside, scan myself in, make sure I'm authorized, and finish up the Doog labs. As I build this, I want to quickly say sorry for the short upload delay. I had some family matters to attend to, so was idle last weekend, but I am back. This interior will be much more of a challenge though compared to the traditional style I build in usually. I feel like older themes and older styles box you in a way, and not that that's a bad thing. Rigidity like that breeds creativity, don't get me wrong. It's just very refreshing to be thinking more fictional when building, dystopian if you will, for a change. And maybe I was inspired by the fictional dystopian novels I've been reading recently, who knows, but the creative possibilities are endless the more imaginative your thinking becomes, which is why I want to interiorize and add lore to as many builds as I can in this series. And maybe that's why I like making these videos, because it's more than just scaling a channel, you know? You're building an entire world around your audience. It's a unique challenge for sure, but it's also fulfilling in so many ways. But I think I can now say the first building of Doog Labs is open for business. But let me run in and give you a tour of this place. I decided to split it into 3 levels, which took a while, but was worth it. This bottom level is the main lab, so it's got some random machinery. You know, maybe these are the current experiments being done, and so many other little details, like the portraits of important figures, or the large computer for data collection. But heading upstairs, floor 2 is my favorite of the build, and I think it'll be yours too. This is like the testing room, so where villager workers conduct all their human and non-human experiments. It's a pretty cramped workspace, but I think I filled it pretty nicely with details. Definitely one of the most unique areas in my world. And lastly, the 3rd level is some sort of research dwelling or study. You know, scientists might need to find some inspiration sometimes, you know, catch up on the latest studies and such. But it's also where the large portrait of Lady Lapis resides, gifted to the lab by some villager art collector. But this is for sure my favorite project I built in this world in a while, and I'll definitely be coming here much more often now, further expanding the environment, and who knows, making more facilities even. I love building in this style, so I really hope it resonates with you as much as Lapis City has so far. Speaking of Lapis City though, before building the satellite dish and the last few builds of the labs, I needed a little refresh. So I traveled back to Lapis and built up the Doog Labs Lapisian City campus. And the plan is to design it similar to the other Houseman style builds. I only made room for 2 plots, so it'll be a little smaller, but should fit right in. But I'm going to be trying a pretty experimental gradient, so I'll be needing some of your input on it. I want this section to be more texturally diverse, since that became a little bit of a problem over in East Lapis. As I said though, this build will be the lab city campus, so kind of like a place for the lab staff to work out logistics with the capital, since it is a state-run lab. I'm really glad you're all liking this style of build though. I see them as comforting, because they're honestly pretty simplistic, but yet they tell a story in a way through the use of the details, which is what I want to be the overall theme of Lapis City eventually. A city you can get lost in. Sprawling streets full of life, people, and most importantly, cats. Well, what do you think? I think it's pretty cozy. I probably should have made the plot wider so I could have fit an interior, but we have so many other plots for that in the future, and there's still more to do. I think I'm starting to understand texturing more though, I will say. Well, I probably have a biased interpretation, but I'm definitely focusing more on, and for lack of a better phrase, blob texturing, which is just where you connect and blob together blocks you're texturing, which creates a cleaner, more textured look. And I know the whole build looks a little out of place right now, but that's probably because I'm forgetting how many city blocks we actually have planned. There's still a bunch of buildings to fill here. It's definitely one of those projects you have to take breaks from over time, because it is overwhelming for sure. Styling these builds gets easier over time, yeah. Like, I didn't even need to use a reference photo for this build, because I'll just be using the ones around me as a reference now. But the process for supplies is still always so grueling, and especially when you're out of leftovers from past projects, my goodness. After finishing the build though, and cleaning up the plot, I took a stroll through Lapis and traded goods with some of the city folk. But upon checking my clock, I had realized the date on the government contract was nearing, so I flew back to the lab and got back to work. So if you remember from earlier, I mentioned that there's still a satellite dish, watchtower, and a few electrical posts left to build, and I think we'll start with the watchtower, and I say watchtower in a very loose way. It's more so a control station. You'll see when I'm done. Also, shameless plug right here, but if you're interested in schematics for every single one of my builds and all the custom trees, I do have my Patreon in the description, and if you're not interested, a sub is fine as well. I have a feeling though that I'm gonna build more builds like this even after I finish this lab. It's also nice having a new area to come to now. Like, I have the Dutch base, but that's different. I built that one before I started this channel. I'm building this one alongside you. Now you're probably wondering what in the world I just built, so let me quickly explain this monstrosity before we build the satellite tower. The vision was supposed to be one of those large telecommunication towers, radio towers, something like that, which basically sends radio signals, so it kind of goes hand in hand with the satellite dish. But I am questioning the design a little. I've been going back and forth making adjustments to it, but I think the white dishes, like the quartz, diorite stuff you can see up there, I think that saves it. Hopefully you can see what I'm going for. I think I'll keep it for now. I'll probably warm up to it eventually. I don't know. Something's just throwing me off right now, but I am satisfied with this watchtower though, and I'll explain more of that later since I'll have to go through the interior. But for now, I want to finish the satellite dish because I don't even know where to begin with how I should design this. It's always a fun challenge building things that are more on the unique side in terms of shape and structure and such. It tests the limits of your creativity, really forcing you to think far outside of the box in terms of details. But that doesn't bother me too much, as you all should know. That's what I've always had in mind for this world. Different build styles, different ideas converge together to create a realm of beauty. A place where the builds do more than provide shelter. They're part of something bigger, a mission I've been planning for a long time. A long-term world of creativity. But take a look at all this. It's starting to look like a nice, humble, immersive area. I feel like it also reads as a laboratory of some sort, which is what I was scared of. I didn't want it to end up looking too much like a factory, hence why I even built the radio towers. Although that was a very annoying process making that angled circular shape. I think I spent a solid 45 minutes making that. This place really isn't too interiorized crazily. I just added some utilities and storage to fill it, and occasional redstone details. But this control tower over here does have an interior, and it's filled with what you'd expect. Control stuff. More redstone and such. But this is probably the most immersive build yet. And this is only the main section. I don't even know what I want to do with this other land around here. I'll definitely be needing your feedback and recommendations. Also about this build style in general. I know it's very different from Lapis, but I would for sure be down to turn this style into a whole built up area if that's what you'd want to see. I'm planning on spending some time here in the future adding the custom environment and such. I know I want to do a waterfall. And I also do want to put an iron farm somewhere here as well if I do plan on building in this style. I had to use a lot of iron. Way more than I expected. But here's an updated map of the Doog Labs State Park region, and I know I want to make it into a state park, so I'll definitely work on that next episode and throughout the future, like the large waterfall I had mentioned and stuff. And there's also a massive landmass island just in the distance, which I do want to use for something. I have no idea what though. I also want to expand the custom forest, I know that, but I don't want to start that until I actually do it, because right now the surrounding dark oak kind of adds to the immersion, so I haven't really destroyed it. I never really destroyed trees close to where I build unless I know I'm expanding, because I really don't like the look of the distant fog. And I know there's mods that extend your gameplay, but then I'd be killing at least 30 frames, and you know, I like to have some backdrops to balance it out, which is why I chose this location in the first place. So let me know, this area can become a simple lab within a secluded nature reserve, or it can be as populated as Lapis one day, like an entire research facility spread throughout the region. After taking in all the sites of the lab, I returned to Lapis City to deliver the contract and receive my payment. I then took the subway to East Lapis and headed inside the Grand Opera House. So it's the time of the video where I thank those of you who made this episode possible, whether through donations, Patreon, or just cool ideas you've commented that I've implemented into builds. And I'm also finally going to give a full showcase of my mods after, so bear with me. But firstly, I want to thank Dominic, Tim, Mr. Frost, and Carlos for becoming Patreon members. That really means a lot, and it helps me with motivation to actually create these projects for you. Also, I want to thank some Buy Me a Coffee donators. Brandon for the $25. If you're watching this, thank you so much for that. That honestly made my day when I saw that. And also someone for the $4. Thank you guys, that really means a lot. Lastly though, William here is the one who came up with the state park idea of some sort. I think he mentioned something a little different, but I'm still gonna credit him here anyway, because I don't really care about the specifics. If your comment looks somewhat similar to something I added, I'll put you on the wall. That being said though, I could always use some creative, non-biased input, so please let me know what you think this world needs. I honestly keep track of so many of your good ideas and insights. So as I said, let's do a quick run through of my mods. I don't really rely on mods too much. I kind of just looked up what mods I could get. I'm pretty new to Java if you do watch my videos, so you'll know that I don't spend too much time on mods. I kind of enjoy the vanilla. But we got some animation ones. This one is not players. This one's more towards like animals and such. Better clouds. This is amazing. You can change the settings on all the clouds. I definitely recommend this one. Bobby, I don't think I even set this one up right, I'll be honest. I don't know much about it. I don't even know if I use this one anymore. I used this one back when I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know if I still do. This one's for the player animations. It's pretty helpful, but it will crash your game every couple of hours if it's not updated properly. It's very strange, but it does work. Entity view distance. This one's more so for recording, so I could see signs and stuff from a far distance. Ferrite core. I honestly don't know what this one is. I kind of just looked up mods I should have and downloaded a bunch of them. Flashback for recording. You know what free cam is. Hide hands for recording. Lightmatica to save schematics after I'm done. Lithium optimization. A library. Minecraft. Mod menu. I think that's just the mod menu. Mouse tweaks. The zoomer. And my favorite, simple fog control. You definitely want this one. This one is amazing. You could adjust the fog. You can see here I have it on 0 and 130, and that's what creates this beautiful white haze over your screen. And that's really it, because it's time for my favorite part of the video, the final cinematic. But that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you guys so much if you stayed this far. Again, if you want schematics for all of my builds in this world, you can visit my Patreon in the description. And if you want to donate, I do spend a lot of time making these videos. My Buy Me a Coffee is there as well. But more importantly, I will see you in the next upload, so long as I survive. Thank you for watching, and bye.